Welcome to Game of Roses. I'm Chad Kulchin, aka BachelorClues, and I have on this night witnessed what is potentially the final finale in the history of the Bachelor franchise. We have no promises moving forward in this franchise. After tonight, there is no Bachelorette this year. There is potentially no Bachelor or Bachelorette next year. We, again, have not been told. We do not know. But what we do know is after the viewing of this recap, there will be a season of Paradise, and it is going to be historic for several reasons. We will get to that at the end of this recap. They actually did not lie to us there. The rest of the program, however, was nothing but a lie. Jesse Palmer told us time and time again throughout the course of the season, not just tonight, but a lot tonight. He said, tonight is going to be an ending that you've literally never seen before in the history of Bachelor. And they always say most dramatic, most this, most that. But usually if they say something you've never seen before, that's literally going to happen, even if it's just marginally different. But here, it was a blatant lie. What we saw at the end of this episode, this finale, we have seen many times, and the I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just get into this, shall we? Thank you for joining me. Please, if you're just listening to this, we're also on YouTube. You can watch me in my insane ravings about this episode tonight. I just can't believe it. We also saw at the end, I'm getting ahead of myself. I just have to do this recap. I'm very sorry, but thank you for joining me. Check out our Patreon. It has a bunch of extra stuff. It has me currently. You can watch House of Villains season 1 with me in a thing called Clues Corner. That also has a bunch of other shows that I've been watching over the past 2 or 3 years. Bunch of Love is Blind, stuff like that. Lizzie is doing PaceCase Palapa, where she's watching Vanderpump, and you can literally watch the shows along with us. I hope you'll join us for that. Nonetheless, let's get into this, please. Jesus Christ. Bachelor season 29. We've been 20 plus years with this franchise, and this is what they gave us tonight. We know this season has been marred by the exit or forced exit of Bennett Graebner and Claire Freeland, the two executive producers of this season and many seasons past, from around the Clayton Echard era, or the Gabby Windey. Clayton Echard into Gabby Windey and Rachel Recchia. That era is when these producers kind of rose to power. They've been pushed out under allegations of toxic workplace environments. There's a bunch of reporting that I've covered in Deadline about that very thing. So they are gone, but their specter is still present. I don't believe they were here tonight for the live taping of this. I think they've already been excommunicated, but I could be wrong. Their names are in the credits. So we begin. This is again the finale of the historic Bachelor season 29. The intro: thunder in the distance over an island, a single rose on an altar. Grant ponders. A clock can be heard ticking. Both women are on their way, and DLP, Dark Lord Palmer, needs to know who to send first. Grant doesn't know what he wants to do. The first car pulls up. We already know this is a lie. Grant was on Vial Files and said that he did know. This is all a lie. And they're trying to hang a whole season on it. Like, oh my God, he can't make up his mind. It seems like he made it up very easily. In the studio now, DLP emerges to his adoring audience, a lot of clapping, happy fans. And then we see a bunch of Bachelor Nation players, royalty and otherwise. We see Joan Vassos and Chalk Chapel side by side in the audience. They're still together. Not like Gary Turner, who is there single. Teresa Nist, no thank you. You stay home. We see Clayton Echard, the ultimate Viking. We see Charity Lawson and Doughton. We see Parisa from this season. Dina, Serafina, Bailey, Allie Joe. Alex Godden is in the audience. Everybody is fucking here. I couldn't believe this shit. I was like, okay, I'm in. From that first shot, I was like, that whole audience is basically packed with legacy. I love shit like this. It just doesn't. I've said this multiple times, and I'll say it until I'm gone from this mortal coil. The Bachelor, I mean, it's getting dicey now, but still right now, The Bachelor has the longest legacy of any of these shows. It can reach back into the past to pull stars and leads. There are a lot of people who watch this show who have been watching it from the beginning. I'm kind of one of them. I had to come back to it, but I'd seen most seasons. Then we went back. We did a thing called the Hyperbinge. But I just love how they bring out these players that are like, oh yeah, I love that season. I love that season. Even the people, like some people feel a certain type of way about Gary Turner. It was still good to see him, in my opinion. DLP then tells us, it all comes down to this. Is Grant prepared to make the most important decision of his life? Who will Grant propose to? And will she say yes? Or will he leave the Dominican Republic alone and heartbroken? He assures us we will get these answers tonight. But there has never been a bachelor who has been more torn over the two final women at the end. It will be an emotional and historic conclusion that you will not see coming. So get your tissues out now. I just wrote in big letters, LOL, O'Connell, Womack, Mesnick, Lyondike. You gotta be shitting me, dude. Especially now that I know what the end of this, even when he was saying it, I was like, this is some bullshit. But now we've seen the end of this thing. And it is some bullshit. Also, why don't we throw Benjamin Higgins into that mix? And by the way, where the fuck was he? Where the fuck was he tonight? They brought out that hot seat of all the people who had loved more than one player, but Ben Higgins ain't on there. That's a mess up. That's a mess up. You're getting good at the legacy, but you're not great at it yet. Ben Higgins should have been on that hot seat, talking about how he told JoJo Fletcher that he loved her and then crushed her, and immediately she became the Bachelorette. Maybe I guess you don't want to remind that there is no Bachelorette. The saddest part of tonight, in my opinion. DLP then throws to the audience to see some Bachelor Nation alumni. And he says some of them are going to be featured later. And who's ready for BIP? We're officially headed back to the beach for a season of Paradise unlike anything you've ever seen before. And they'll be announcing a Paradise twist that will really shake things up. And I just wrote down, now, granted, this was a mistake on my part. I fully admit that. But I wrote down, what's the twist? No crabs. They treat the players with respect. I thought he was lying to us, but he wasn't. That Bachelor in Paradise twist was almost worth the 3 hours we sat through to get to it. Okay, but first it's time to head back to the Dominican Republic for the meetings of the families. In document, we are in the DR. A lone stork balances on a plant and the strong Dominican Republic wins, and the stork symbolically representing all of us precariously perched on the uncertain branch of the future of this franchise was not my creature of the week. It was very close. I loved it as a symbol. Unfortunately, there were a couple creatures that came in a pair a little bit later on. Our first meeting in the family is Litia. She meets Grant on a walkway. She walks to him slowly with no enthusiasm and fails to hooju, instead resulting in a lazy hug that has a small kiss. No momentum. No momentum. Watching a person run excitedly literally builds anticipation. It builds momentum. To not have that visual symbol right there before this thing just is like, oh, they're just going to hang out with the family. Who cares? No big deal. I didn't give any errors this game, by the way, because I thought the play was outstanding. Forget the producing for a minute. The play out fucking standing. It was perfect. All of them perfect. I couldn't believe it. Even Grant's apology was like, that's good. She brought a fucking A game to attack him on that hot seat. And he was like, let me go ahead and throw up this defense. Look, we'll get to it. But I forget even what I was saying. Sorry. So Grant informs Litia that, I was talking about the Hoojus. Grant informs Litia that she'll be meeting his mom, dad, and sister, and he assures her that they are going to love her. There's a little kiss here, and Grant ITMs that this is the most important week of the journey. He pictures Litia being his wife. She's patient, kind, beautiful, and loving, and he thinks his family's going to love her. This is the first time in a decade his family's been together since his parents split, and their opinion's important to him. Group debrief. Grant's mom and sister asked for a debrief on the dates they went on. Litia says, first one was in LA, made a big connection, but then they went to Madrid, which was because you played basketball in Spain. 4 minutes and 47 seconds into this episode, we get our first mention of basketball. Grant explains that his most memorable time was a moral affirmation after the LA date. And in Scotland, they had their first conversation about faith, which made him realize she's more than just her looks. As I said on night one, Grant's dad says, you guys look good together. That's a dad glow. His sister agrees. That's a sis glow. His dad goes further, explicitly acknowledging their mirror dimple play. That is open acknowledgement of mirror face play. I don't know that we've ever quite seen that. It is potentially historic. His sister says she liked Litia since day one and she's happy she's there. Grant's mom ITMs that she senses their energy. And he looks like he's happy. This is a fucking full family glow. Every member of the family has glown or glowed, both of them simultaneously. I don't think I've seen that. You can sometimes see like a multi-familial member glow. You're talking maybe 2. You might get 2. In a big family, maybe you get 3, but not everybody. This is 100% full render of familial glow. I believe it's historic, but this is what I'm saying. Like from the beginning, these players are just crushing. That glow only comes like, yes, you got to see your family. Grant's family has to see that he's happy. They got to see it on your face too. It's part of a little kind of like a dynamic duo play almost that you kind of have to be in sync. And she just crushes it. You can't get better than this. 100% familial glow. One-on-one time with Grant's mom and Litia. Mom says, what makes you love my son? No beating around the bush here. This is a direct and straight values attack. What do you like about him? What does he like about you? Litia says she knew she loved him when she saw him. She saw him with her family. Mom loves this because that means she's into family. And guess what? I'm the mom of this family. I'm also in one. Litia says he wants to take care of everyone around him. And it's such an admirable trait that she wants in a partner for her kids. Grant's mom loves this values attack defense. She thinks it describes Grant exactly, saying she must know him, proving that Litia does in fact know the real Grant. And she adds that Grant has been like this since childhood. She takes it one step further. Grant's mom then asks, once the show fades away, what will it look like back at work? Home, kids, where are you going to be setting up? This is an implied location attack. Litia says she doesn't expect him to move to her, so they might start in a neutral place where it's new for both of them. Mom loves this answer. She explains that her family is amazing, but she wants her kids to learn from Grant's mom also and her family. Perfect answer. Literally perfect. I will go wherever he wants to go. I hope you are in our children's lives. 100% perfection. Mom says they've had hard times, like dad having a history of drug abuse, and she saw Grant when he was in a dark place, but it is a joy for her to see Grant so happy once again. Litia says she understands his loneliness and his hard times. Mom says he loves you. You guys have reciprocated that to one another. Are you 1,000% sure that if he asked you to marry him, you would say yes? The mom acknowledges a dual love level 4 play here. You have both told one another you love each other, but then she asks a harder question. She asks for what we call a pre-cog. Tell me the decision you will make before you are in the time when you make it. I need to know that you will say yes. Litia says, yes, no doubts at all. It's a perfect game, ladies and gentlemen. This is 0 errors, 0 missteps. It is very textbook. I will give her that. But I don't think that takes away from it because her performance of these textbook plays it's outstanding. I don't know that I've ever seen a player. Well, I don't know. There have been some perfect seasons, I think, but this is up there. What Litia has turned in this season is up there, I think, for like greatest seasons of all time. If you're looking at pure play, Mom then ITMs that Grant had a hard pass, but Litia is going to help him get through these hard plays. Litia is humble, genuine. You can see that she loves Grant. That's a glow. She would make a great daughter and make a great daughter-in-law. Sorry. And then I forgot right here. I even wrote that's a glow and a blessing in the same sentence. It just doesn't. I mean, this is it. This is it. Part of this perfect game she's playing. One-on-one time, Litia and Grant's dad says, it's a lot to deal with. He knows it's hard for Grant. He explains that he's divorced and he doesn't want that to happen for Grant. How does Litia feel about that? And she says, she and Grant want to take pieces of their childhood and combine them to make their own life. She wants to make sure Grant feels like his cup is full. Dad asks if she's ready to have a husband. Litia says, yep, I'm 31. I think the most fulfilling part of life starts when you have kids. So I need that damn husband. Dad then ITMs that her values put him at ease. He tells her she reassured him. Her values are in line with Grant. Didn't even really have a values attack, but nonetheless gets the values defense. Robert then ITMs that Grant saw what he did, but Grant knows better and he has his own family to forge. So if she gets married to Grant, he thinks she will fight for that marriage. This is almost a blessing. One-on-one time then with Grant and his dad. Grant says the biggest thing with her is the biological clock. She wants she wants kids within 2 years. And he's like, I played basketball too much to enjoy life. This is our second basketball reference. And he wants to enjoy life for the next 3 years. So their biggest issue apparently is this 1 year discrepancy. She needs kids by 2 years. He'd rather do 3. It's just those 12 months that he wants to remain childless. That's where they're not seeing quite eye to eye. I think he's coming up with a viable reason to dump her. I think he already knows at this point It's Juliana. And he's trying to weave some narrative in here that's like, well, we don't see eye to eye on literally everything, including this 12-month period that has not happened and may never happen. So his dad says, you're not going to agree on everything, but you're going to be okay. Don't let that put you in a box. If you like her, if you love a person, you don't let one issue stop you. So the dad's even setting up Litia is a shoe-in. Grant ITMs that having his dad there to point him in the right direction is something he always dreamed about. We get one-on-one time with Grant and his mom. She says, Litia's great and loves God, but don't base your decision on what mom is saying. Take a deep breath. Your happiness has to be number one. And they love level 4 and hug each other here. And then Grant ITMs that he's happy with Litia. His parents loved her. We get the group hugging a goodbye. Upbeat corporate presentation kind of music starts playing. Grant ITMs that she's amazing. It's like, dun, 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 dun. It's like happy. Grant ITMs that she's amazing and special and his family could see it. When he leaves, the mom, dad, and sister all agree she could be the one. We then get bench talk between Grant and Litia. He says the meeting of the family reaffirms his feelings for her. Kiss, kiss. She says, I love you. That's a love level 4. And she's so excited when she hears him say it that she didn't say it before, but like, wait a minute. I'm so confused with my notes here. She says, I love you. Plays a love level 4. And she's so excited when she hears him say it. And she says she didn't say it before, but she hasn't said it before to someone that she loves them. So she's never played a love level 4. She's a sacred word virgin here. This is a SWPVC, sacred word personal virginity card. She says it again. I love you. He kisses her on the cheek and laughs, but he didn't say it back. Quad kisses. He walks her out. She ITMs that she's happy and she loves him. They're in love. AutoZone, triple kiss. She ITMs that he makes her feel special and lucky. And she just loves him. And she's confident that she'll be engaged at the end of the week. She drives away. Grant waves. We never saw him say it here, I don't think. I could be wrong, but I think I remember this and my notes seem to be pretty specific. I don't think she said it. Or he said it, sorry. And I can't imagine that is really how it happened. I have to imagine he did say, I love you there. And the editors just broke it out. They didn't put it in because they didn't want us to feel an attachment there or something. Maybe that is like through the edit. They're having his back a little bit. Portion 2 in studio. DLP welcomes us back. He says he watched Grant's family love Litia. Now it's Juliana's turn back in the document. Juliana meets him on this walkway. Hi, boyfriend. That's kind of how she greets him. And Grant ITMs that he's nervous. For this meeting, the family has strong feelings for her, but he wonders if she's ready to be engaged. So that's her big thing. Is she ready? Same thing here. Totally slow walk, just arms around, little kiss, no hooju, terrible. Juliana ITM's nervousness because they have not played level before yet, and she's scared she might not get there with him, but she hopes that seeing with his family might give her the peace of mind she needs to turn that corner. Brilliantly played, sets it up perfectly. You're looking for me to love level 4 him? Let's see if I do it. Meeting in the family 2, Juliana enters, and Grant's dad asks Juliana for a big Italian family makes sauce on Sundays. She's like, yep, my sister does, and some aunts do. Dad then says he had an Italian neighbors that taught him not to touch the sauce pot while it was cooking, and Grant says her dad is cool, and they talked over a glass. And the mom then asks, Grant's mom asks where they traveled to. Juliana talks about the helicopter ride in Scotland, the pretty woman date. She laughs about waltzing with Grant, and Grant says they've connected emotionally, and he brings up the lone wolf tattoo being the thing that bonded them. That tattoo is just, it's one of my favorite things ever in Bachelor, the lone wolf tattoo. I will never forget it. Thank you for that, Grant. Then we see one-on-one time with Mom and Juliana. Grant's mom. Mom opens with a values attack. What in Grant have you fallen in love with? Juliana says, oh shit, I think about that a lot. She's bobbing, she's weaving. It was hard for me to be vulnerable coming into this because I was having a hard time walking away from a bad situation. I've had loneliness. I've had self-doubt, but she was able to have those deep conversations with Grant and she felt understood. She dodges this question. What in Grant have you fallen in love with? There ain't no answer to that question in what she said, because an answer to it is an implied admission that she is in love. The way the mom worded the question, what in Grant have you fallen in love with, means if you give any answer, it means you love him. She just fucking spins around and is like, well, we've had a lot of conversations and I know about loneliness and self-doubt. And we, our conversations were very deep. It's like, huh? What? The mom says she's seen Grant depressed and lonely, but with Juliana, seems like he's found his way again. That's a glow. Mom asks for a precog and says, do you love my son? Point blank. You ain't getting around it now. Juliana says, okay, so we have not leveled forward. I'm holding back because of what that means. And the mom says, do you think you can ever get there? And Juliana says, that question has been on her head. And love means forever to her. He is truly someone she can see herself being in love with and spending eternity with, but she wants to make sure she can give him that. And I wrote here error of the game, but it wasn't. It wasn't even an error because she is setting up these higher stakes. Like usually if a mom asks you if you love the person, it's like, yep, of course, absolutely. Here, she's going to be able to pull this off. And we see what the outcome of this is. It gives her a little bit of an extra narrative to kick up here in the final. Like Litia is just like, I'm all in. Everything's great. I'm the perfect woman for your son. Let me into your family. And everybody's like, we love her. She's the best. But glow, 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 glow. Blessing. Da, 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 da. Here, Juliana's given some pushback. She's not totally LL4 yet. We then see one-on-one time with Grant and his mom. Mom explains her answer. She's not there yet. Grant doesn't know why she's not there, but he doesn't falter. He says, it's hard to love somebody when there's somebody else in the picture. Mom says she's warm and kind, but this is about you. If she doesn't love level for you, I am asking you to walk away from that. The mom literally draws a line in the sand and says, if she will not cross this, she stays on the other side forever. I don't know if that's the right analogy. I think it's completely wrong. But nonetheless, Grant's mom here plays, I mean, God, his mom and his dad were both like outstanding familial players. I think his dad takes the cake, but I couldn't believe this. She literally just says, she must make this play or you must dump her. And now we're watching really hard to see if she makes the play. We get one-on-one time with Grant's dad and Juliana, and Grant's dad says, I felt Grant's excitement. This is almost a glow. It's glow adjacent. You have to be able to see it though. Glow really has to do with looking at them. He knows that she's guarded and it took time. Dad asks if she has any questions about Grant. Juliana says she wants to make sure he understands he can have bad days with her. Is that something you think he struggles with? Dad goes, ooh, great question. It is very nuanced. It is very interesting. Shows you're thinking about Grant. And he says he's seen him have bad days, but he's been there for him. Grant told him that he needed his space, so he gave it to him. Dad says his house was a little bit fiery, and Grant and Taylor saw that. Grant will be a better husband than he was. He wasn't always there. These just open admissions. He's being so vulnerable with her, and clearly has Grant's best interest in mind. This is like the beginning scene of a masterpiece that Grant's dad weaves throughout this entire 3 hours. Grant told his dad that Juliana makes him feel safe, and he needs that, and you do too. You have to be able to talk to your partner about everything. And then Grant's dad ITMs that if you can get Grant to speak about his feelings, you're already on third base coming home. But either way, he wants to support Grant. So he loves both Litia and Juliana. One-on-one time with Grant, then and his dad. Now, this is the second part of his little masterpiece here. He's like, Juliana, asked me about like when you're down, and I told her that you want somebody to share bad times with. And Grant says he wants somebody he doesn't have to hold it in for. He feels like it could be her, but the love has to be there first. He hasn't heard that love before. And the dad says, you are safe with her and you have to figure out the rest. Grant says it means a lot that his dad met her. Dad produces tears. Grant says, he's always wanted to have a talk with his dad like the one they're having right now, like best friends. Dad says he's proud of Grant. Grant tears. He says, I know you put up with some stuff. You've been there for me. You're my heart. It's because of you that I'm here. I made some bad decisions, but you're a gem. I love you. And the man you've become, he said, I'm here until God takes me. He says, you deserve to be happy. And I know you. Make the right choice. And whoever finds you is the luckiest woman in the world. I just wrote in all caps, best convo of the season. And this is why Grant's dad was my Sweet Numb's familial player of the game. This is, of course, in honor of Sweet Numb's pilot Peter Weber's exalted mother at our beloved game, who got into a fight with second place finisher that season, Madison Pruitt, at the After the Final Rose. Never forget. But this was just a beautiful conversation here between Grant and his father, producing tears from both of them. It seems very heartfelt. It's good advice that he's giving Grant. Like, it's just some of the best familial play, I think, of all time. Goodbye hugs all around. Grant ITMs that he's taken a lot from his parents and has a different perspective, but it feels good that his family has his back. He's going to put his feelings out there for Juliana and see where the pieces fall. We get our bench time now with Grant and Juliana. This is it. You got your bench and you got your auto zone. Those are the final two places you go in one of these dates, also in hometowns, but specifically in these meeting and the family dates as well. So is she going to play it? He says he gets butterflies with her. She agrees. They open this conversation with a little tiptoe in. Here's 2 level 1s for you. You give me butterflies. You do too. Level 1s. He says he's attracted to her and he's fallen for her. This is a very technical play, but it is technically a level 4. He says, I'm attracted to you and I've fallen for you. It is a past tense implied love level 4, no sacred word inclusion, a weakened version of the love level 4, but it is one. He says he's been waiting to tell her that. And then he says, I do love you. This is a full love level 4. He says, no pressure on you to say it back, but I mean it. I love you. He sees a future in her. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Head in a box, 4th audiencer. I don't know who this person was. Her head was in the box down there watching this, and she just goes, say it back. Say it back. I was doing the same goddamn thing. Juliana says she has something to say too. This is so exciting. It's nerve-wracking. The other person is making it hard. She has debated on just what it would mean to actually know that she loves him. After the meeting of the family, I love you too. Love level 4. She wants it to be them at the end of this. I love you too. Kiss, kiss. And she gets into the car in the auto zone. And Grant says, I feel like I can conquer the world with her. Watching her leave was surreal. It's heavy because he's in love with Litia too. Now he has a choice between 2 women and he's confused. And then in studio DLP goes, there you have it. Grant is now officially in love with Litia and Juliana. One bachelor in love with 2 women at the same time. I feel like we've seen this movie before. When we come back, we're going to get to the bottom of this. We come back and it's our first hot seat. Charity Lawson, Clayton Echard, Gary Turner, 3 leads who told multiple people they loved each other. Like I was saying up top, where's Ben Higgins? That's the only guy really that I think is like a superstar. I guess Charity is too though, but Charity didn't get like derided for it. You know, she played it at the end like that, but she just kind of skated. Nobody really got mad at her for it. Ben Higgins, people hated his guts for a minute. Clayton Echard certainly did. Gary Turner, I don't feel like people turned on him until the actual divorce from Teresa Niss. And yeah, Charity never did. She's like beloved, I feel like. Anyways, I just missed Ben Higgins. I think he would have had some interesting opinions about this. Nonetheless, we see he does this little hot seat where he's asking Charity about how she felt. And she's like, well, yeah, it's hard. They basically all are just like, the process is crazy and nobody can really understand it except us. And I don't know that much comes out of this ultimately. It's like interesting to see it. It's interesting to see them acknowledging historically like that this is a play style for a lead to tell multiple players love level 4 basically. I did like that, but there just wasn't much said in here that I found very interesting, honestly. So after this, he says, are you ready for more drama in Vanderpump Villa in Italy? And then we get a big Vanderpump commercial and portion 4 begins. DLP's back in the studio. He reminds us it's 3 hours long tonight. And he says, everyone that has love level 4 as he goes into the final dates, he reminds us that everybody said they love each other. Yeah. And then it's 3 hours long. For real. Like the 3 hour thing. We got to not do this anymore. We got to not do a 3 hour episode of anything anymore. It's like Dune, you know, even that's hard to sit through. And that is crazy. Like that's an insanely good movie. I just think it's too long and you could feel it in this, like not only when he reminds you of it, but there's some scenes that are just like, what are they talking about? Jesus, what is going on here? They're just like packing it so that they can fill out 3 hours. If they just cut this down, like the finale really, I think only has to be about an hour and a half. And the after the final rose only has to be about half an hour. You could cut this whole thing way down. Nonetheless, DLP's back in the studio. He says, every portion starts with, I see we get back into the main document and I just wrote every portion starts with 200 drone shots. We get it. You have a drone. There's more drone shots in this season. And I like drone shots. Don't get me wrong. They can be beautiful. There's a lot of them in this season that I don't think we need. It's daytime. Juliana is getting ready for her last date and she ITMs that it's still, she's trying to process the meeting of the family with the love level 4s. We see her pondering. She says she's excited, nervous. She meets Grant on a dock. She slowly walks up to him and gives him a little hug and a kiss. No hooju. Grant has something planned. He says they're going to explore in, I have no idea what I just wrote here. They're going to explore Punta Cana. Oh, in their new ride, he said. And then we get a kiss. The ride comes up. It's a boat. This is an aquatic date. They're already on the boat laying down. The boat pulls up. then they're already on the boat laying down. We don't get to see the exciting moment of them crossing the threshold, going out into the open sea. We see none of that. It's just an immediate cut to their laying down with 2 champagne flutes. They toast to themselves, and Grant ITMs. They started with a physical relationship, and he didn't know if they'd hit the emotional relationship. But over time, they have developed that emotional connection. He tells her that it was a big day for him. He was nervous about the love level 4, and he worried that she might not return it. He was like, you might have said, I like your shirt. Instead, they both kind of laugh at that. I did think that was a funny little joke for him. She ITMs that there aren't many guys like Grant. She divulges that they're both looking for a person to water them, to help them grow, to heal them. They jump in the water off the boat after this. I think that was a forced line by producers. And we see him ITM that there's nowhere else he'd rather be. And he just needs to see how that night's going to go. Night is what we call a mi casa. That's when the lead comes over to the, in quotes, house of the player. In this case, obviously, their hotel rooms. Grant walks in, and Juliana lights some candles. She greets him again. Hi, boyfriend. That's her little thing. And they sit down, and they agree they had great time during the day. And he's like, you're special, and I want to make you feel that way. He came with an open heart, he says. He fears heartbreak. He asks if an engagement coming up in 2 days is something she could be ready for. He wouldn't ask unless he's serious. And she says, that's a good question. What I can promise is that I'm going to do my best to handle your heart with care. I've been hurt in the past, and I know that feeling. That's why she's reserved, and diving into this was scary for her. That ain't a precog. She ITMs that they've both been hurt. I mean, she's an expert at this little like, let me twist this around. Let me see what I can do. And then she finally does tell him if she didn't know where she's going to be able to get to at this point, and she didn't know what ready would look like or feel like. But this is happening so rapidly, but being able to admit to herself and to him and having his love level 4 was all the reassurance she needed to be prepared to enter an engagement and get married to him. This is full precog, just blasting him away with it. But it's like Litia's thing is like, you know, oh, I'm absolutely 100% ready to get married anytime. Like that's known. The fact that Juliana was able to give him this extra little narrative piece to play with in this conversation, I just thought it was brilliant. And that is why Juliana's precog was my play of the game. I think that her love level 4 was massive, but the precog kind of like iced it. I feel like it was almost like, let me see if that love level 4 is really what I think it is. Will you precog? Yes, I will. It was the icing on the cake. They're kind of both in the same though. They're like the same play almost to me. I can see the thread between them. I'm giving them both my play of the game. Grant ITMs that it meant a lot to hear that she love level 4 and that she precog. She was denying her love at first. It's scary. He understands that, but they both feel safe now. A bunch of kisses here, and they love level 4 a few more times. And then Juliana ITMs that one of them is going to have their life shattered, and one will have the best day of their life. And she'll be devastated if she's not chosen. Well, one of us is going to have her life shattered. The other one's going to have a great day. I can't wait to see if it's me. Back on the dock then in Portion 5, it's Litia's last date. And this was a pretty funny day. Again, slow walk up to Grant, no hooju, couple of kisses. It's just like, oh God. They should just do away with that shot, honestly. If they're not going to hooju, the walking up to each other shot should not be in this document. It's so boring. For me, it just takes the energy out of every scene where they're meeting in the beginning, because it's just like, well, what? They don't care about this. It seems like they are not happy to see each other to me. At any rate, Grant says he has a surprise. They're going to have some fun. Litia ITM's excitement. They encounter 2 horses, and these horses were my creature of the week. The equine will always get my creature. I don't know if you can see it. Is this little horse back here? This thing's in the way of it. This horse right here is from Villa de la Vina itself, from the Bachelor Mansion. Thank you very much. It's part of my collection, you see. Litia ITMs that she's happy and excited for this last date before Grant puts a ring on it, she says. They ride through the rain and mud on these horses, and it's literally pouring rain on them. These producers are like, keep fucking riding. It's like a typhoon at one point. It's just like pouring buckets on them. Nonetheless, they're kissing in the rain on the back of these horses, and there's a person walking behind them wearing a raincoat, wondering, what in the hell am I watching? And this unsuspecting person just trying to make it to their destination in the Dominican Republic from wherever they're going to wherever they're going without getting drenched by a rainstorm, who was forced to watch Grant and Litia kissing on a horse, was my Jorge Moreno, bystander of the week. Weren't a lot of bystanders to choose from this week, but this was a good one. They are finally then granted reprieve from God's unending tears, is what I've written here, in some kind of a palapa. And one-on-one time here with Grant and Litia. She's like, I love this date. The horses and reminded her of her grandma, and the beach reminds her of her dad. And her grandma Candy, was the horses. We get a little kiss. It's all of her favorite things. Grant says, it's special to me too. They agree that she loves his family and they love her. Grant says he wants his wife to have a relationship with his family. She loves them. She loves any, like, in quotes, sneak peek that she can get into what it would be like if they were together. They're both so excited. A little kiss here. Grant says he hasn't done everything right, but the best thing he did was get to know her, and he's excited. They toast the meetings of the families to finding commonalities. And that's where love comes in, they say. Grant ITMs that he has a heavy heart because he knows what's later on. Right off of their cheers to that cut, I was like, they're telling us it ain't Litia. He ITMs that there are important questions he needs to ask before he makes the biggest decision of his life. Portion 6 begins. This is the night portion, the mi casa. Grant goes up to her room. They talk about how beautiful the date was. Litia is journaling. We get a weird shot when he comes in of just this flower on the table. They linger on it for like what felt like 20 seconds. We then see them have their little conversation, their one-on-one time. He says, I need to keep this light. And she's like, don't keep it light for me. And he's like, timeline. Let's talk more in depth about that. So he's trying to put that wedge in there. This is why it didn't work. We had a different child rearing timeline. He says, you want to be a mom and you have a big family. How much pressure do you think they put on you? And she's like, none. I'm totally ready to have a family. Next. And then she's like, if it's how I would handle it, Grant says, sorry, what if in 2 years I'm not ready for kids? And how would you handle that? And she's like, depends on the reasons. If you want to accomplish more in your career before you have kids so that you can be comfortable enough to have them, that would be fine. She wants to make him happy. She wants him to feel ready. She wants both of them to be excited and ready. Perfection. It's perfection. That stupid fucking attack you're throwing at me, Grant. Here, dude, I don't give a shit about the timeline. I want you to be happy. And that conversation's over. There ain't no more digging that he can do. She says when she sees him sad or stressed, she feels those things. And this week she feels so calm for herself, but she knows he's under pressure, must be heavy for him. She wants to help share his stress if she can and make you feel like you're enough, so much more than enough. I love you, love level 4. It's unreal. She's just like got him against the ropes and just keeps fucking hammering him. Like, you're enough. I want to be able to share. Like she's saying, it's a hard decision for you to make right now. I get that. Let me help you make the decision to possibly dump me, is what she's essentially saying. She says she hasn't really said I love you in past relationships because for whatever reason, she has a fear that when she says it or feels it or makes it more likely, it's going to make it more likely that she'll lose that person. But she loved him way before she told him. She had to stop herself from saying it. Plays tears. He makes her feel safe saying it. She doesn't get scared. She ITMs that, there was so much she didn't know about herself and her relationship with love. It's Grant who taught her. It's just unending with her. Bunch of kisses here. Grant says, you're special. And I knew you were stunning, but then I started to see your heart and your compassion, the way you make me feel. My heart is the most special thing. Her heart is the most special thing about her, he says. And Litia delivers a full bottom lip pout with squinting eyes and a look of mock sadness. That was not my faceplay of the game, if you can believe that. Grant produces tears. He says, sometimes it's hard to know what you want or need until it's right in front of you. And I see that in you. Kiss, kiss. She says, pick me. She's so funny too. Like she has this little weirdness to her that I just loved Litia. I thought she was a fantastic player this season. And he's like, you're funny. They level before and they throw some kisses. Grant ITMs that he's seeing things in her that are special, things he needs. And he ITMs that he has to pick between two amazing women and he's scared. He loves them both equally. Both hearts are in his hands. He doesn't want to hurt anyone. They're so beautiful, caring, loving, smart. His emotions are everywhere. DLP then in studio. How will he make this decision? Someone is going to be absolutely crushed. Maybe that will be Grant himself. So DLP is selling us someone is going to get demolished, maybe even the lead. That's why you're watching this show. Portion 7, DLP says he's going to make the hard decisions of life. Back in the document, storm is brewing. Grant's pondering on a couch. He is having a hard time. Oh God, I need some advice. His fucking dad shows up again. You know, this dude weren't done with it yet. He shows up again. A council of crowns, but it's a council of father. He says he stayed in the Dominican Republic for Grant. The whole family left, but he's here. And Grant's like, I don't have much time. They're both amazing women. It's a dynamic where I'm struggling to make a decision. I'm worried about it not working out. And the risk is on both sides. Things could be very different when you leave, but there's love on both sides. But deciding in such a short amount of time when he has a woman who's 31 and knows what she wants, but his relationship with Juliana is more fun. He doesn't know what to do. And his dad says, go with your heart. I like them both, but somebody's better for you. Grant is scared that things are going to be different once they leave the show. And his dad's like, yeah, that's normal. You're going to have bumps in the road. Grant's nervous about letting somebody down. His dad says, somebody's going to be hurt and life goes on. His dad said, you got to put your heart up there. You went through this for a reason. You deserve to be happy. That's all that matters. I know you're good and you'll make the right decision and your future is bright, son, he says. And his dad ITMs that he's fortunate to have a son like Grant. Is such a good man. They hug, they love level for each other. Then his dad leaves. His dad ITM's fucking tears as he's leaving. That anybody he ends up with, whoever ends up with Grant, they got a good catch. Oh my God. I got to take a sip of water after that one. He's one of the greatest family players of all time. There's no other way to say it. It's like all of the advice is always good. It's always extremely sincere. It usually produces tears from either him or Grant. Just absolutely fantastic. Juliana wakes up with a cappuccino in her journal. She's ITMing nervousness to get engaged. It went by in the blink of an eye. What's going on? And she talks about she's only known sadness in relationships. She says playing her love before and then getting her heart broken is playing out in her mind. We see Litia getting ready for the final rose ceremony. She's laying out her jewelry. And she's like, I love him, but there's somebody else here too still. Grant then meets the diamond demon, Neil Lane. He's been giving diamonds to the show, I believe, since season 14, I think was his first one. And here he shows Grant 6 rings, 1 guy and 2 girls, is what he says. The demon tells him that he has to make the decision about who is forever. He shows them this classic emerald cut, and we make that kind of Litia's ring because he starts ITMing about how he's confident about what he and Litia want in their future. We see some footage from earlier in the season with kind of a memory dream filter on it. And he says everything he looks for, she is, and Litia could be his wife. Neil Lane shows him then a classic round diamond. And he starts ITMing about how Juliana is so much fun and they have all this romance. And we then see the clip of him showing the lone wolf tattoo to her on that day. I just love the fucking lone wolf so much. He ITMs that they help each other heal and grow, and that's something he's been looking for a long time. I like the song they put over this montage as well. Feels pretty contemporary. We see both finalists then in their respective cars. They're on their way. Grant's rubbing his face in despair. Oh shit, how am I going to make this decision? It's raining as Grant pulls up to the path of pain. He gets out of the car, walks the path alone, meets DLP. They bro hug it out. Grant tells him it's a big day. His mind is racing. DLP says, how are you going to choose between 2 women you're in love with? I don't know. DLP says, well, they're on their way right now, and I need to know which one to send first. As though the 2 cars are coming from opposite ends of a road, going 150 miles an hour with no ability to deviate. They will crash if you don't tell me which one to send first. It's like this is not how the show was made. They know this order already. This is acting what is happening here. And I mean, that's the bottom line of it. And I think it's bad acting. I don't think anybody believes this is real. Grant then ITMs he doesn't know how to tell somebody that he loves that he can't be with them. He hopes and prays he makes the right choice. DLP's in studio. He says he wasn't lying. He's like, I hope and pray I make the right choice. And I just said, LOL. He says in all of Bachelor history, it has never come down to the wire like this, but it has many other times. Charlie O'Connell did not end the show in the final rose ceremony. He asked for an extension of dating time so that he could continue dating the two finalists from the end of principal shooting to the live after the final rose where he made his final selection. You've got Ari Luyendyk and Jason Mesnick who took the ring back from their ring winner and notched down to their second choice. That you don't think is down to the wire? That's after the final rose ceremony. Anyways, DLP then lays out possible outcomes. Litia, Juliana, or does Grant propose to no one? Portion 8. DLP welcomes us back, checks us all in. He says he's never seen an ending like this, and it comes down to this final moment. Just more building on this bullshit. I wrote lies, lies, lies. Grant at the final altar with his back to the final rose. He's deep in thought. He ITMs that this is the biggest decision of his life. He loves them both. Knowing he has to break a heart doesn't make him feel good at all. Both women are amazing. He's just repeating everything he's already said, which is how you know they have nothing for this season. Horribly produced. You're getting entire 2-minute long segments of every portion that are just saying shit we've already heard a million times. He ITMs that he has made the decision. So all of that was for nothing then. All of this buildup of, oh my God, they're both on the way. What are we going to do? I can't make a choice. All for nothing. It's just so annoying to see that. This season could have been, I wish I had the raw footage to this season. I wish I could just get all of the footage to this season and cut a different show. Cars are pulling up as Grant recounts his dad's advice at an ITM. Follow your heart, which is what he's going to do. A car pulls up and Litia steps out. There has only ever been one season, I believe, where this order was reversed. And I want to say it was Jesse Palmer's season, where the person first out of the car is the winner. He then said, you win. Now go up on that balcony and watch as I dump the next player that shows up. They've only done that once, and I think for good reason. It did not work. It was extremely cruel. We see Litia baby stepping down the path of pain because her dress is so tight and her heels are hard to walk in, I assume. She ITMs that she's ready to get engaged. She's a new standard for the kind of love she wants in her life forever. She's ready to start a family with him, and she knows her future looks like so much love. Oh! She comes to Grant without any moment with DLP. They call each other beautiful. They kiss on the lips here. And they both agree they're nervous. And I'm like, they're kissing on the lips. You don't usually see a lip kiss to the person who's about to get dumped in the final rose ceremony. Litia goes first. She says this whole long, beautiful thing about she started falling for him on week 2, but she couldn't tell him. Then she heard him talk about his childhood and how hard it was from growing up. That's when she really knew. It made her want to give him a family where he never had to feel that way. She can see him as her husband. She loves him so much, feels so lucky to be loved by him, has shown her how she wants to be loved forever. Grant's turn. Litia has been looking for an emotional connection, and I have that with you. You are one of the most amazing, beautiful women that I've ever met, and you deserve love and to be treated right. It's hard for me. And that's when, you know, Litia at that point is like, oh, he's fucking dumping me. Litia, I love you very much, and I want to give you everything you deserve, but I'm not your person. Good day. And that's it. He says he's sorry to have gotten to this point. Emotional connection stronger somewhere else. She's like, what changed? She's like, it didn't change. I do love you. She shoots him a, yeah, I don't believe you kind of look. And he says he hopes she doesn't view him any differently. Oh, did I miss my faceplay? Where was my goddamn faceplay? It was in here somewhere. Oh, God. I hope I didn't miss it. It may be still coming up. I'm so sorry. So Grant is talking about all this emotional connection is stronger with somewhere else. And she asked him when it changed. He's like, it didn't change. She's like, yeah, I don't believe you. And he says he hopes she doesn't view him any differently. And she's like, I do. Come on, dude. And he's like, this isn't about me. And she's like, it's all about you. What the fuck are you talking about? She doesn't give him an inch here. Grant says he's concerned about how she feels. And she's like, you got your answers. I'm disappointed. She laughs at him and says he's different than she thought. And Grant knows. She's like, I know you view me differently. And she's like, wouldn't you? And he's like, yeah, I would. And he's trying to figure out what best suits him. And that's where he's at. Litia says Juliana is beautiful and deserves love. And she would have a lot of questions if she were Juliana based on what Grant said to her. So she's throwing this grenade into their relationship, which was not addressed in the After the Final Rose. But I assume she's talking about when Juliana watches the season back and sees you, Grant, basically saying the same shit to her that you said to me. You're going to have to answer for some shit, but apparently not. Grant says he doesn't mean to end things like this, but this is how he feels. Has to be honest. Litia says, sure, and walks out. Rose still on pedestal. She says, things you've said to me all along the way make this decision so much more devastating. The switch up is crazy. And Grant's like, it was not a switch up. He wants to make very sure Bachelor Nation knows this was not a switch up, despite what Litia is saying. He has feelings for her, and he's like, you're right. I take full responsibility. Litia delivers a stunning "Are you fucking serious?" look that prompts Grant to deliver. This was it. That prompts Grant to deliver an eyes to the sky, face pinch frown pull. That was my
face play of the game.
He's like kind of like this. He's like, it was brilliant. I couldn't believe that he beat Litia in the final rose ceremony with a face play, but he did, in my opinion. Grant walks her to the car and says, I still love you, but it came to that final day where I had to make my decision. It always comes to the final day, of course. He's not perfect, and he's truly sorry. Litia is like, I believe you. I just want to be so clear that I'm confused and sad and mad. Not a tear shed this whole time by her, which was stunning to me. Grant says he does love her, wishes her the best, hugs her, thanks her. She gets in that car. She rolls out. She finishes this season tied with Caitlin Bristow for the best rose quotient of all time at 0.71. Just an unbelievable season. And I think the biggest disservice to her is that there is not going to be a Bachelorette. I guess I should do her exit speech too. She tears finally when she gets in the car. Wow, what a surprise. How disappointing. I feel like he loved me and picked someone else that he loved more. Grant stands in the driveway. He's like rubbing his hands, and Litia is like, I hope I can find someone that will love me like that forever. Not today though. Litia says it definitely hurts. Looks right into the lens and produces tears. Single tear rolls down her cheek like fucking Glenn Close in Dangerous Liaisons, for which, correct me if I'm wrong, she won an Academy Award. That's the level of tear play we're talking about here with Litia. And that's it. Back in the studio, silence. I just want to say about Litia's season. I think it is one of the greatest seasons ever played. And, there ain't no Bachelorette. She's not playing for anything here. They're going to put her on Paradise. No, thank you. Well, I don't know though. This Paradise is a weird one. I don't really know what it's going to be like, but to not have the opportunity to give Litia the crown after this is criminal, in my opinion. She deserves it. She was incredible. Thank you, Litia, for your service to this game, for the season you turned in. I just have never seen. It was so like pristine. It was just like a perfect season. And with her, that little like weirdness that she has that makes her kind of funny. Like I would love to see a Bachelor season of her, not to mention her giant Mormon family. Portion 9, Litia is now in the hot seat. DLP thanks her for being there. He says, it's probably one of the more emotional goodbyes that we've ever seen. And I just wrote, what? She didn't even cry. She was just kind of like, yeah, dude, you fucking tricked me. Good job. Fuck you. And walked off. Does anybody remember Baylock High, Blake Horseman on Becca Kufrin's season of Bachelorette? Anybody remember that one? That guy almost didn't survive the amount of tears he produced. How does it feel watching it back? He says, she's like, it still doesn't make sense to me, but it reminds me how shocked I was. And I felt that the rug got pulled out from under me. So she's doing a good victimization play here. She's like, me and Grant had talked a lot that day. And he told me it was going to be me from their first one-on-one. She remembers saying goodbye to him and saying, we're getting engaged tomorrow. And he was like, I know, I can't wait. I love you. I love you. I love you. She knows the amount of times he love forward her. Like she is bringing receipts. Not that she has screenshots, but she has this photographic memory for every play he made and why it was bad. DLP says, I saw the connection between you. You were really in love with Grant. That's a glow. She says, yeah, I love parts of him that he chose to show me. And she learned a lot about him that day. Watching it back has given her a lot of context. He made the right choice. She agrees with his decision. DLP asked her about when she said she views Grant differently. And she's like, he was different than I thought. She explains on their first group date, she told him about their past dating experiences and how intentional she was being. And she said he was in the same position, looking for the same things. They talked about timeline the next date, and he continued to reassure her and promise her. And he didn't ask the serious questions till the very end. So she's basically saying through all of this that he was the one elevating their relationship in each case. And she was like trying to play catch up, basically. And then he says, next segment, we're going to have Grant come out. So he comes back. Litia's still in the hot seat. He brings out Grant. We do get a little moment where DOP says, "Are you okay? It's time to bring out Grant." Like to get that confirmation from her. And she's like, "Yes." So he calls him forth. This is in opposition to when Jen Tran said, "Do I have a choice?" at watching back her clips. We then see Grant emerge. Litia does not stand to greet him. She remains seated, and they get into this conversation where she launches an all-out assault. She says, "I don't think you're a bad guy. You had great intentions, but you talked a lot from the beginning about being honest and maturity and accountability and the responsibility he felt for his partner's feelings, including all 25 players. You said a lot of things from the beginning to me, from our very first one-on-one, that you wanted to stop the whole show." And you told my mom that. She is fucking guns blazing. You said you want to stop the show for me, and you fucking told my mom that. Those were both lies. And those are crazy things to say. Like, I don't know if all bachelors say that type of shit ever. She asked him not to make those promises. She's like, "I know what I signed up for, Slucian protocol." And he told her his mind wouldn't change. He was scared if he didn't tell her how he felt, she might leave. And so he kept raising the stakes. And she's like, "You went out of bounds," she says. This is open gameplay speech. What does that mean, out of bounds? That there are certain rules of things you don't promise in the show unless you're going to deliver, is kind of what she's getting around. And if you say, "I want to stop the show and leave with you," that means you won the show. That's basically what she's implying here. She's like, "I knew you were seeing other people, but you never let up. Overnights," he said a lot. Up until last night, when he said he was excited to get engaged, she brings up the triple love level 4 again. "Where's the honesty and protection and accountability that you were talking about?" And Grant's like, "As a man, I accept accountability for my actions. I'm not perfect. Everyone can see the relationship on screen. I did love you, and you taught me a lot as a man." He's complimenting her, and he's saying, evidence is there. There's no footage to support the kind of picture you're painting. And he's like, "I'm in a difficult situation. I apologize for hurting you and hurting the people that love you. That's all I can say. I'm truly sorry. I had to make a decision that was best for me, and it came down to the wire, and I'm sorry I hurt you, but I hope you feel my sincerity." Perfect. It's a perfect fucking apology. It cuts the attack off. There is nothing you can do or say. DOP then asked Grant if he regrets the level 4. He's like, "Absolutely not." Litia then says, "You raised the stakes and went out of bounds because you kept raising the stakes. There was no transparency that you were conflicted." This is our first line in this little face-off that gets an applause. Grant says, "It's hard to compartmentalize your feelings in the process." He says, "You're meeting families and it's amazing. Then you're on another date." He knows he was wrong. He admits his mistakes. DLP then asks Litia if she has regrets. She says no. She was transparent. She's ready to find love. Every woman deserves a great love who will choose you beyond the shadow of a doubt. I'm like, is that lining up paradise? I don't know. DLP thanks them both for the conversation. Applause. This was a pretty good little segment. She tried to come on the offensive here, and he, I think, defended it pretty perfectly. And, she didn't cry during all of this. So it could have been, she could have attacked harder, but it was a good attack. He defended it well. They both kind of came out clean, I felt like. Thought it was pretty good. Portion 11, DLP says, "It's already been an unbelievably emotional night with Grant and Litia's tearful breakup. I just wrote, she didn't cry. What is he fucking talking about?" Back in the document, 2 birds flying, a lone crane. Grant rubs his hands as he heads back to the final rose pedestal. And this is Juliana. She walks the path of pain. She approaches the final altar. She gets the first paragraph, the first vows. She says, "Grant, not too long ago, there was a part of me that thought I wasn't deserving of true love. But today I'm standing in front of the man who gave me the reason to fight those beliefs. We've come so far from, Mr. Ellis," she says, "from trying to win you over with my lack of basketball skills." I mean, you got to have fucking basketball in your final vows with this dude. The fact that Litia didn't, maybe that's my error of the game. Should have mentioned basketball more. She says, "I'm now a woman who's deserving the love you've given me. I want to protect your heart with my own and celebrate the good days and create a safe space for you on the bad days. I believe that between them, our families and God, the sky's the limit for us. I love you. Love level 4. And would you make me the luckiest girl in the world and spend your life with me. Grant then steps up and says, since our first night playing the piano, we've always had a connection. Through his whole journey, she's inspired him, kept him laughing. They understand each other. He believes that she is someone who is his best friend, and he's grateful for their journey. She doesn't have to go through her tough times alone. He will be her man, her friend, her partner. He produces that Neil Lane Diamond Demon ring, gets down upon one of those knees, cracks that box to see the Neil Lane logo. Will you marry me? Yes, a million times yes, she says. Ring on the finger. Quad kiss, love level 4, quad kiss. He says their connection is so strong, they can help each other through everything. Quad kiss. As a couple, they give an ITM. Juliana is like, oh, I'm special, I'm happy. He tells her he can't wait to be a part of the wolf pack. He gives her the final rose, double kiss, wolf pack or die. They make the little wolf pack finger symbols. They make the wolves kiss, a triple wolf pack kiss. Grant picks her up, carries her away. We see a rainbow. They walk out into a clearing together, kiss in slow motion. Back in the studio, DOP says that's his favorite part. A huge congratulations to the fairy tale ending. There, the next hot seat. So then we see this hot seat with Grant. DOP's like, what was it like to see the proposal again? Oh my God. Families have our backs. Everybody's happy. They bring out Juliana. She emerges. We get a little kiss. DOP goes, let me see that rock. So you always get that. Your DL, your Dark Lord's always going to want to see that diamond ring. They agree that Neil Lane knows what he's doing. DOP asks what it's like to be out in the open, and Juliana's like, it's surreal. We live so many months getting to know each other. I'm excited to just go to dinner and have some wine. She then says, we're free. That's not even an implication that they're imprisoned. She's saying we're free, meaning they're imprisoned. DLP says he remembered her on the first night saying she was cheery and bubbly, but her layers peeled back. What was it about Grant that made her feel that way? She says that she's put a lot of work into herself and she's confident in herself, telling Grant that it might take her some time, and giving her grace and a safe space made her feel okay to open up. DLP says a lot was made about how difficult this decision was for you in the end. And I was like, lol, a lot was made of it by you, DLP, and the producers. No one else believed that this was going to be a historically dramatic ending. I don't think. He asks, what was it about Juliana that made her the winner? And Grant says her outlook on life and character. She's proven to him that she's a solid foundation. DLP asks Juliana about the grief she's given him, about how long it took him to make the decision. She's like, not grief, I give grace. DLP then says in the weeks leading up to tonight, a bunch of questions started pouring in after the women tell all, and Grant's demeanor changed after the tease, after the final rose. I did see that. I mean, it did look like he was wrestling with something, but it was just acting. And then we get a little mention of the chubby bunnies, and we're into portion 13. DLP says, your families are thrilled for you. They're both in the audience tonight. And we see he talks to Carl, Juliana's dad, about accepting Grant. And they're like, oh, he's great. Everything's great. Then we see Grant's dad obviously is there, and he gets a final little act to his performance tonight. He's like, I'm happy for them. This is what it's about. The journey was something else. He doesn't envy him having to make the decisions, but he's glad he's happy with his person. So it even ties up his entire performance with this nice little bow on the end. DLP asks, what's next? Juliana's moving to Boston to be with Grant. He says he couldn't let them leave empty-handed, and he mentions cannoli and pizza, and he says they're going to send them on a vacation to Italy. Fantastic. Everyone cheers. Then DLP is joined by a very special guest in portion 14. It's Zoe who gets a hot seat. Huh? What? Why is this after the show? What? I don't get it. Just a weird choice. I don't know who made it. A weird choice. And you're like, if this, usually when this happens, this is your next Bachelorette. They have a little segment at the end where they introduce who the next Bachelorette's going to be. Instead, this is just Zoe being like, I'm proud and competitive woman, and I'm ready to find love. And DLP is like, well, BIP's coming back this summer. Do you want to come on BIP? Yes, I do. Huh? They did a whole hot seat after your main couple got married. It's because there's nothing to promote. There's nothing to go into. Paradise isn't going to air for another probably 2 or 3 months minimum. They've just botched this, unfortunately. But she accepts. And then he says, there's a twist. Maybe the next 2 guests can help him explain it. And he brings out your newest and first ever Golden Bachelor in Paradise members, Leslie and Gary. What? Goldens are going to season 10 of Paradise? As what? Are they in the dating pool? Are they in their own dating pool? Are they just hosting a couple of group dates? I don't trust that they are playing in the game of Bachelor in Paradise. I don't trust that. That said, the new producer of Paradise is this guy, Scott Teddy, who comes from Summer House. Maybe he's doing crazy shit. My hope level for Bachelor in Paradise because of this is very high, but I temper it. I temper it with the knowledge that they have attempted to trick us every season with some dumb thing like this. And it's very possible that those Goldens are like hosting a date. It's very possible that that is what's happening, and they will not be on Bachelor in Paradise in any real way. It's possible. Nonetheless, I was blown away by this. For the first time ever, golden men and women will be hitting the beaches in Paradise along with your favorites from seasons past. Fema's excited to get to the beach, make new friends. Gary says he's going to be dancing. They talk about dancing. Ha ha. DLP asks Zoe what she thinks. She's like, as a Pisces, I'm more excited for the beach than the mansion. She deftly avoids that question. What do you think about the Goldens being on Paradise with you? She's like, I love the beach. There's no good answer there. He truly cannot wait for this, DLP says. And he's like, how is this whole thing going to work? You're going to have to tune into the brand new season. Again, I don't know. And we see credits list. Bennett Gravener and Claire Freeland are still in the credits. I don't exactly know about this Golden in Paradise thing. I don't know about Paradise generally. I just know they're not shooting it in the same location. I'm hoping they make some other drastic changes to it. One of which clearly is they're going to have Goldens on it in some capacity. And I am going down all these roads in my mind. If it's an open dating pool that also contains Goldens, what are we going to see? Will the Goldens kind of just self-select in that social category so they're only dating each other? Will there be any crossover? Will there be an attempt to be any crossover? I don't know. I mean, can you imagine a rebuffing in an attempted crossover? It's a dynamic that I just don't think this show wants, honestly. So I have to imagine they're either sequestered into their own dating pool or they are hosts of dates. That's the only way it can work. At any rate, that was the finale. That was the after the final rose. And on this night, Juliana was my MVP. This was a hard choice for me because Litia is like maybe the MVP of the season in my mind. Maybe I'll be giving those awards out next Tuesday. My year-end awards, that's Play of the Year, Error of the Year, Jorge Moreno of the Year, Creature of the Year, MVP of the Year, and Face Play of the Year. I just don't think tonight, in the finale, what Juliana did was better than Litia. It was a harder thing to do. Litia played perfectly, but she was playing a very textbook game. Juliana had a little bit of variation in there where she was saying, I don't know if I'm ready for love yet. I don't know yet. And she was like dancing all around it up until like really the final moment. She played that level of 4 on the bench outside the meeting of the family. Like she really waited. And so for that, I give her the MVP. But overall, I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining me for this season and PaceCase for the first 2/3 of it. It has been an absolute pleasure to call this. As much as I hate what the producers did this season, I do think some of the play we saw is at the highest level that this game has ever known. And it is such a disservice that there is no Bachelorette to allow one of these players to really show us what she can do in the driver's seat. There are so many players from the season that I would love to see as Bachelorette. I hope it comes back next year. But even if it doesn't, we now are going to be looking forward to this Bachelor in Paradise season 10 and whatever the Goldens are going to be doing on it. I will be covering all of that, of course. I am going to cover that Hulu show, We Must Get Out of Here, or whatever it is, the one with Demi on it. I will be covering that in Clues Corner on our Patreon, patreon.com/Clues Corner. So check that out. I think it comes out April 11th. And we will see where we go with our beloved game and with this franchise. Whatever happens to it, even if it goes off the air for a little bit, it will come back in some capacity at some point, fully revamped. So we will keep an eye on that, and we'll be looking forward to the season of Paradise. I think a lot rides on that. if Scott Teddy can turn in a great season that just goes way above and beyond expectations for ratings, I think they might give him the keys to the whole kingdom, and he's doing it all. He's doing Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise. That is my hope. Please, Scott Teddy, deliver us from this evil. But again, thank you very much for joining me for Bachelor Season 29. Grant Ellis. Thank you, Grant Ellis. Thank you, all the players of this season. Thank you, everyone. I will be back on Thursday with a recap of Survivor.
Please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us. And then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast.